Okay, so you remember when the entire world was completely obsessed with Squid Game? You know, the Netflix show with the deadly children's games? Well, one creator looked at that and thought, I'm going to do that for real. He decided to recreate the whole thing with real people and a huge cash prize on the line.
And that's the big question, right? How do you even begin to replicate the insane tension and the drama of a show like that, but, you know, without the whole lethal part? Well, that's what this is all about. This is the story of how they pulled it off.
And just to give you a sense of the scale we're talking about, it took a staggering $3.5 million to make this happen. That's a budget that rivals a lot of Hollywood TV episodes, all for a single YouTube video. Just wild. So let's set the scene. You've got 456 real people, the exact number from the show, standing on these perfectly recreated sets. Every single person they see is another $1,000 in that prize pot. The stakes are already sky high, and they haven't even started the first game yet. All right, so with all 456 of them gathered in this giant, super detailed replica of that first arena, the games officially began. And you could feel the tension immediately. The rules are just as simple and terrifying as you remember. Get across the room, but you better freeze when that music stops. The real genius here, though, was how they solved the not getting hurt problem. Every player had this little device strapped to them that would just pop really loudly. It was totally safe, but it was a startling, definite signal that you were out. And right away, you could see all these different strategies emerge. You had people sprinting, risking everything. And then you had people like this contestant who barely moved at all, just playing it super, super safe. They even threw in a yellow light to mess with everyone, and the eliminations just started racking up like crazy. And this number right here just shows you how brutal that first game was. When the 30 minutes were up, only 232 contestants were left standing. Almost half the competition was gone before they even got to game 2. So after that absolute chaos of red light, green light, the whole vibe of the competition shifted. Now it was all about individual skill and having incredibly steady hands. Yep, it was time for the Honeycomb Challenge. Each player had to pick a door, with no idea what shape was waiting for them on the other side. They had just 10 minutes to carve out that shape perfectly, using only a needle. If it cracked, they were done. And really, the shape you got basically decided your fate. Getting the circle was this huge sigh of relief. Triangle and star, okay, manageable. But getting that umbrella, man, just like in the show, you could feel the dread just wash over the people who got it. For a lot of them, it was pretty much game over. But just when the survivors thought they could relax, MrBeast hit them with another classic twist. He walked out and offered anyone $4,000 in cash to just quit and walk away right then and there. It was a pretty brilliant way to test their nerve and thin the herd. So after all the broken cookies and all the people who took that cash offer, the number of competitors had dropped all the way down to just 120. Things were getting really serious. So up to this point, right, it's been all about surviving on your own. But now, the game was about to enter a totally new phase. This next part was all about alliances, team strategy, and, yeah, a whole lot of betrayal. Next on the docket, tug of war. And it was just this frantic scramble as everyone tried to build their teams of 10, desperately trying to get the strongest-looking people on their side. Alliances were tested with pure brute strength, with a giant foam pit waiting to swallow the losing team's whole. And then, after that display of raw power, came maybe the most psychologically brutal game of all. The producers had been tracking who was spending the most time together, and they forced those people, the closest friends, to partner up. The rule was simple, and it was absolutely heartbreaking. Play any game of marbles you want, but only one of you is moving on. I mean, this quote just says it all, doesn't it? This poor guy wasn't just playing against some random competitor, he was playing against his actual roommate. It suddenly wasn't about strategy, it was about personally crushing the dream of someone you genuinely cared about. Just brutal. So, between tug of war and the marbles game, the field got cut in half. And then it got cut in half again. Just like that, only 30 players were left to see the next stage. Okay, now we're getting to the end game. The grand prize is so close you can almost taste it, and the pressure is just off the charts. These final hurdles were all about pure luck, raw nerve, and some seriously high-stakes mind games. First up, a little warm-up. Instead of the big fight from the show, the remaining 30 played Dokchi. That paper flipping game from the first episode? The first 16 to succeed got to move on to what was probably the most feared challenge of the whole competition, the glass bridge.
And this is where it got really interesting psychologically. After a couple of people took a wrong step and fell, everyone else just stopped. They refused to jump, creating this incredibly tense standoff. As the clock ticked down, arguments started breaking out, which led to this final panicked rush where 4 players got eliminated just because they ran out of time. The glass bridge was just a ruthless filter. After all the falls, the strategic waiting, and that last-second scramble, only 6 finalists were left standing. For these lucky 6, it was time for one final meal together, a big steak dinner to calm the nerves before the final battle. But, unlike the show, which ended with that really violent Squid Game, the creators here went for something a little different, but honestly, just as tense. So what was the final game? Musical chairs. I know it sounds kind of simple, but with $456,000 on the line, it was anything but. One player made a huge mistake and sat down too early. Then accusations of people teaming up started flying. The tension was just unbelievable as they were whittled down one by one until just 2 players were left, circling that one last chair. And in that final split-second moment, it was player 079 who dove for the last seat and won the whole thing. The $456,000 grand prize was his. The runner-up didn't go home with nothing, though. He still got a $10,000 consolation prize. But after days of this crazy competition, we had a winner. So look, this wasn't just a competition. It was a massive event that totally blurred the line between a YouTube creator and mainstream media. And it leaves us with this really fascinating question to think about. When a single YouTuber can pull together this kind of budget and audience, what's next? What does this mean for the future of entertainment as we know it?